Can I use the word outsourced? He outsourced part of our foreign policy to Bibi Netanyahu.
Welcome to Newsbeast. Michael Tomasky, author of this week's cover story, The Wimp Factor. This has made barely a ripple in the conversation.
Unfortunately.
Do you feel like it's, tree falls in the forest on this one?
Yeah, it's just a very sad thing to see. I let everybody down.
So, Michael, my question to you is this the kind of article that begins with the headline?
Yes, I guess it does, but then I think it pretty quickly goes beyond the headline. And what the article is about is this question of Romney's political backbone and the degree to which he is or is not his own man politically. And that's really the definition of wimp that we're working with here.
So because very few people will get beyond the headline to read the piece, particularly if they are repelled by it, right. Lay out the case you're making. This specific definition of wimp
we've never seen in modern American political history a major candidate, a candidate for the presidency certainly, who has changed, somersaulted positions so aggressively on so many issues, not just one or two, I mean 7, 8 really important issues, central issues of our time: abortion, immigration, taxes, of course, healthcare, his own accomplishment. Everybody flip-flops a little bit, one or two issues. As you remember, Rudy Giuliani did not on abortion, and it cost him in 2008. And Romney looks at things like that and says, no, I'm going to do whatever they want me to, whatever they say. Rush Limbaugh says jump, I'm going to say how high.
So what the Romney camp would presumably say is pragmatism, you say is spinelessness.
Yeah, it's total spinelessness. I mean, you can't. What's he stand for? What is his conviction? I really don't have any idea beyond this vague faith in the free market. I have no idea.
So this obviously recalls a iconic Newsweek cover from 1987, as you say, which is also reprinted in the iPad edition, about George Herbert Walker Bush. And in the article, you make the point that headline got it wrong. This guy was a war hero.
Yeah.
And that offers some point of contrast between the two candidates.
I think, Bush, obviously, he was shot down over the Pacific when he was just 20 years old, as I say, before he could even drink a beer. Mitt Romney was not drinking beer or wine in France as he was sitting out the Vietnam War. So there's that contrast. But there's another point of contrast between them, which is a little bit more subtle. But Bush's problem was that this magazine then interpreted as wimpery was a kind of adherence to an old code that he had,
right.
Which was in its way honorable, an old waspy code of civility. And that's all just kind of gone out the window, and not only with Mitt Romney, but generationally in America. But Romney's kind of an exemplar of that.
Right. It was the idea that he's being self-effacing.
Yeah.
Meant he wasn't manly enough. Let me ask you this. Yesterday, Romney responded to the headline in Israel. At the same time, he's making very hawkish comments about Iran, certainly in the nuclear program. How does that either contrast with or dovetail with your thesis?
Naturally, I think it dovetails. I think it perfectly supports the thesis. He gave a speech that on its surface sounded very tough, and on cable TV and in the headlines they're going to say Romney gives tough speech.
If I worried about what the media said, I wouldn't get much sleep, and I'm able to sleep pretty well.
But it was really a speech that was really pandering directly to right-wing Israelis, right-wing American Jews like Sheldon Adelson, who was over there for it, the neoconservative foreign policy establishment, and rank-and-file conservatives here in America. There wasn't a syllable in this speech that would have made any of those groups the least bit uncomfortable. Not a syllable. It was pure pandering to these groups. And as such, he said something that potentially puts the United States in a really difficult and dangerous position if he becomes the president of the United States. So he in essence, can I use the word outsourced? He outsourced part of our foreign policy to Bibi Netanyahu.
Our colleague David Frum had a response to your cover story. Rebut his rebuttal. What are your thoughts on it?
Well, David raised a question that I gave thought to as I was writing this piece, because, to what extent do you delve too far into a kind of armchair psychology when you're talking about these guys? And to what extent is it a fair attempt to suss out their motivations? You know, we do need to think about their motivations and what makes these guys tick. You don't want to go too far in that direction. I think David was, my rebuttal of him would be, it's a little bit too clear a line he drew, and I think he said all of that kind of evanesces. I don't think all of that kind of goes away. I think some of that kind of speculation can be valuable.
Michael Tomasky.
Yeah.
Good to see you. Thanks for coming to Newsbeast.